Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Wife cheated on me and we are divorcing. Hurt and confused. Need support. I'll start by saying that at this point I know my only option here is to go through with the divorce and leave my wife. For reasons which will be very clear, but I'm still reeling from the pain she put me through and am very lost ATM. Some backstory: I met my wife when I was 17 and she was 16. We started dating in early 2016 and hit it off. From there we quickly escalated into seeing each other all the time and working together. Eventually I moved in with her family and stayed with them for a good 2 years. During this time I fell in love with my wife. She came off as confident, feisty and caring. My wife has always done whatever it takes to make her family and me happy, and it showed. Just as well I became very close with her family and know her sisters, mother, and grandmother very well as a few of her cousins and uncles. Of course, living together at a young age probably wasn't the best decision and we did fight. A lot of it had to with the fact that I was living with her family, but of course working for $10 per hour. Part-time is no way to move out or even get vehicle. Of course I tried my best to keep her happy, going as far as to keep changing jobs and pulling out loans, but it would always be something between us. We did love each other, I know that, but she would be constantly upset that we still lived with family. Eventually we split up in 2018 and didn't see each other for about 8 months. She took it very hard at first, but I was adamant that we had a toxic relationship and needed a break. During this time she dated other men and worked on her career. As for me, I enrolled in college where I am about to earn my associates and started taking work seriously and have now landed my dream job as of last week as a result of this. I want to make this clear because I feel we both bettered ourselves and became more mature people during our time apart, and is one of the reasons why I wanted to try with her again. Another thing to remember is that during all of this, her family as well as mine still continued to hope we would work things out, yes, even as she dated other people, which thankfully we did. We reconciled and got an apartment together and eventually got married in December 2019. I was so happy I cried in front of all of our family, and even now thinking about it makes me want to cry. At first things were great, sex was amazing, we communicated fairly well and continued to pursue our individual careers. However, it was after we both got new jobs that our relationship changed. Back in July of this year I got a job as a correctional officer at a detainment center near where I live. It was hard. My anxiety was off the charts and I had regular panic attacks daily. My wife on the other hand had just been in a car accident with her brand new truck where it was totaled and was of course, hurt by it. Needless to say we had trouble. Her normal caring attitude became one of bitterness and anger. When I would talk to her about my anxiety, she would tell me things like, "You need to get over it," or "You're a grown man, stop crying," or "You're being a b_" things like that, and it was very hurtful. I tried to be available to her as well, but working constant 12-hour shifts and overtime made that hard. And yes, we fought. Never violent, but we would talk for hours about the same things over and over. Despite this, I still felt my wife loved me and was just going through a lot. I eventually did conquer my anxiety and moved on. However, my wife started getting closer to another co-worker to cope, at least that's what I assume. At first it was innocent enough, just working together, texting, the occasional call, and it never bothered me. Then she escalated things and started seeing him every day after work for breakfast. She works nights, and seeing him constantly. She would ask me not to talk when she was on the phone with him because then he wouldn't talk, as she said. I didn't like it, but I trusted my wife nonetheless. Eventually I confronted her about their relationship, to which she said they were just friends. However, she would not text me, ignored my calls, and sometimes would stay the night without letting me know. This all came to a head when she stayed all day and night with him and didn't come home or communicate at all. She admitted that she didn't see my calls the next morning, but only after pushing did some other details come out. From what I understand, she not only ignored my calls, but got drunk with him as well as other people who were there. She apparently tried to walk out naked, to which he supposedly pulled her by the arm violently and told her, "Don't be _ing stupid, what are you doing?" Supposedly she didn't see my calls because he put her phone on silent, to which he denies doing. She still claims till this day that they didn't sleep together, but of course I don't believe it. I tried for about 2 days to ask her to be honest with me and cut off contact with this man, but she refused, almost crying when I asked her to and saying he'd be hurt by that. I felt hurt, and was angry that she could just leave me behind so easily, so I left and stayed at my parents' for a week. She did text me constantly asking for me to come home, but I kept telling her to cut contact with him, to which she didn't. She even tried faking it but still contacted him. I know this, because I pay her phone bill and see his number on there constantly. I eventually did come back to her under the pretense we would work something out, but that's where things went downhill. In that 1 week I was gone, she got a brand new truck with him, pulled out a $10,000 loan with him, and even opened a utility bill for him under her name. In addition, he was at our apartment constantly, and she stayed with him constantly. I was hurt, and I regret this very much, still tried to work things out. That was perhaps the hardest week of my life. My wife, someone who I had loved and been with for years, told me she doesn't love and never loved me, said me asking her to be with me was pathetic and that I disgusted her. I was broken. I wanted to end my life. I called her mom, her husband cheated on her, and asked for advice. I know this was wrong, but I had no one to turn to and felt more alone than I had ever been. Eventually, I permanently moved back in with my parents and told my wife I was leaving for good. Suddenly her attitude changed, and said she wanted me back and didn't want to lose me. I was happy, and talked to her. This lasted only for 1 night. Again, I tried to ask her why she felt the need to cheat instead of talking to me about it, but she got angry, saying I needed to let it go and move on already. It had only been 1 day since she admitted to cheating. I'm not perfect, and I feel anyone else in my situation would have wanted honesty and closure too. Her family agrees on this as well and has tried talking to her too, only to be told the same things. This on/off relationship we had continued for a week, with her just constantly saying I don't know what I want. She blamed me for the cheating, saying it was because I left and she had no choice, to which I call bullshit. Last night was the last night I spoke with her, and it did not go well. Her grandfather is currently in the hospital and I went to support the family. She showed up in the truck with this man and her entire family was upset. Me, her sister, and her boyfriend sat and talked with my wife and this man, and he blew us off and treated it like a joke. Saying things just happen and that's why he's with my wife, saying he knows we don't like him, yet constantly disrespecting us. My wife meanwhile barely said a word and let him do this and lie to us. Eventually, her sister, who wanted me to keep trying to talk to my wife, told me she wasn't worth it and disowned her right in front of me. My wife blamed me, saying it's my fault her family doesn't like her anymore and that they'll never accept this guy because of me. And that was that. Her entire family told me they loved me and felt sorry for me and didn't understand how she could do this, but that they support me no matter what. Now for the kicker. So a little info about this guy. He is 39 years old. Yes, that's right. From what I can understand, he is manipulative, abusive, and doesn't like for her to see me or her family. I have not seen him hurt her, but I have heard him over the phone cuss at her and tell her inappropriate things. When me or her family do get in contact with her, he will purposely be loud over the phone, chime in with nonsense, and constantly talk to her. Very childish things. She had admitted that he purposely eggs me on in the hopes that I will do something so he can get me arrested. This man also has a daughter, my wife Sage, and still finds it okay. Needless to say, he's no good. Throughout all of this I have experienced a roller coaster of emotions. I feel inadequate a lot, hurt, scared, and angry. I don't understand why my wife cheated on me and why with someone who abuses her. Yet, I still feel like I want her, and want to help her. I know that's a fantasy now, but I can't help it. I'm also afraid of if maybe she's right. What do you guys think? Am I wrong for being hurt by her cheating? Did I manipulate her family by going to them for support? Is this all my fault like my wife says? I just don't know. TLDR, wife cheated with a 39-year-old man, and blames me and says I manipulated her family into hating her. Did I do something wrong? There is a lot going on here, so let me be blunt. This marriage and relationship is dead. Nothing you say or do will get it back. The woman you fell in love with no longer exists. The sooner you cut her off and move on from everyone, the sooner you can find happiness. This means even dropping her family. Your ex has serious mental health issues and is now stuck in an abusive relationship, but so are you. You can't help her and she most definitely isn't interested in helping you. So cut all ties and move on to healthier and happier endeavors. There is no more happiness here for you. Grieve the loss of the woman you knew and focus on much healthier relationships, and even let her family go, as hard as it is, because you need to move on to happier times and they help trigger the sadness. Thanks for the advice. I actually hadn't realized it, but maybe it really is better to cut off everyone. I know the relationship is dead and have mentally prepared myself for it and am looking forward to better days. Thank you. That was some very good advice. You are still young and have no children. The relationship is dead. It wasn't your fault, but it happened. Some people, your wife, simply do not have the emotional and intellectual maturity, much less the integrity to handle a loving, long-term, authentic relationship. Her sister was correct, your wife isn't worth it. She's broken and you can't fix her. Edit, you may want to read this online article, it may help you understand what is going on with your STBXW, the 4 M's of infidelity, why cheaters cannot leave their affair partners. I've had to let my in-laws go as well. I love them like my own family and they say the same, but they are listening to my STBXW's BS and I've had enough. I hope they try to have a relationship with our kids, but no one from that side of the family has ever called to talk to them in ages. It's sad, but screw them. I don't know about letting her family go. She shouldn't get to dictate his connection with her erstwhile family. In fact, if Op doesn't cut the family off, she will never be able to get back in good graces with them, which is a perfect payback for someone like her. I think it is perfectly okay to keep in touch since they obviously do care about him. But ultimately it's Op's call, of course. He's going to likely find that he needs to do it to heal quicker. Them being in his life will likely be a trigger that slows healing. It's just too hard a relationship to maintain because of the memories. It would be nice, and yes, he has every right to remain, but it just won't allow him to heal and move on the right way. At least not at the strength it is now. He'll almost assuredly have to step back for his own well-being. First of all, this is not your fault. She is toxic and please divorce her and start new. Focus on your career for now and eventually your ex-wife will come back to you begging you to take her back. But don't accept her back even if she is the last woman on earth. She's already tried even while seeing this guy, so yes, I'm sure she'll be back. Thank you, your kind words. I know I'm not to blame, but I keep thinking about everything and it's hard not to think there may have been something I could have done better, even though I know that's not the case. Thank you. That's why things like no contact are so vitally important. It prevents her from love bombing you and trying to hoover you up so that you remain as an option in her life. It's fairly classic behavior for people like your STBXW. And get used to calling her your soon-to-be ex-wife. It'll reinforce to you that this is now her position in your life and reinforces to her that this is her decision, you are just following her lead. There's nothing you could have done differently. She's not only a cheater but extremely toxic. You're in love with an image of her that doesn't exist. When they say love is blind, I believe it doesn't refer to the physical aspect. We tend to idolize the people we fall in love with, and that's when the blindness takes place. We turn a blind eye to red flags, justify inexcusable behavior, make excuses for them when someone else points out their actions, and naively believe they are good inside and something caused the, in our eyes, out of character behavior. The truth is, this is who they really are and manipulated us into forming a different persona in our minds. Please leave this woman and get some type of therapy. I'm afraid your anxiety might creep back after going through this trauma. Make no mistake, while this experience has the potential to make you stronger, it is going to mess you up for a while. Please get help and go no contact with her. You don't have to cut her family out completely, but keep your distance, as in the near future she will manipulate them to get in touch with you. Don't let her take any more of your time or space in your head. Seek happiness elsewhere. Good luck. The only thing you are doing wrong is not getting a lawyer and divorce. Don't worry, I've already started the process. Carrot this. Holy shit, you should have contacted a lawyer a long ass time ago. Stop talking to her. Stop thinking she will come back. You really don't want this street trash back. Stop entertaining any affection. Read up on the 180 and Grey Rock method. Set up a communication channel through a third party, like a lawyer. Ensure that you safeguard your finances, including your own financial future. This means that you need to let your financial institution know that you are getting a divorce. Stop trying to understand why a piece of scum did something scummy. Your wife was always this piece of crap. At this point the only access she has to me is her phone, which I am currently paying, but they are already aware of the situation and I am working towards removing her. I read the Grey Rock method and it was honestly scary how relatable and helpful it was. I appreciate the advice and am hoping to move on sooner rather than later. Stop paying her phone bill. I assume you have no assets together? Give her up, Pop. Save yourself and your chance at any kind of healthy future. She's a common op. She allowed herself to be manipulated by a loser who's twice her age, and she has totally disrespected you and her own family. There are lots of lovely, honest, and loyal women out there, op. Your wife isn't one of them. Get her off your phone plan, lawyer up, and divorce her ASAP. Good luck, and I'm very sorry for your troubles. I've already started the divorce process and so far it's looking good. I mentally have given her up and have cut all contact with her. The problem I'm having is battling the constant negative thoughts and emotions. One day at a time, but here's hoping to better days. It's time to walk away. Get the divorce, then cut all contact. The person you fell in love with no longer exists. Treat it like losing a loved one. It's irrelevant about this new guy's past and how he treats her, it's no longer your problem. The sooner you can get her out of your life, the sooner the healing will start. When I would talk to her about my anxiety, she would tell me things like, you need to get over it, or you're a grown man, stop crying, or you're being a b_, things like that, and it was very hurtful. I tried to be available to her as well, but working constant 12-hour shifts and overtime made that hard. And yes, we fought. Never violent, but we would talk for hours about the same things over and over. Despite this, I still felt my wife loved me. Better to recognize the red flags next time. I honestly couldn't tell you why you felt that your wife still loved you if that's how she reacted to your emotions. Maybe find someone who cares about you next time, or someone who is okay with you having a bad day. Good luck, Hop. She blamed me for the cheating, saying it was because I left and she had no choice to. She's not even remorseful or accountable. It's over. Move on. I agree. She eventually will come crawling back, and don't accept her back. It's just a matter of time. Got on with your life. Not going to happen. There's way too much emotion and hurt for me to ever see her as anything more than an abuser. Listen to me, it is over. If you care about yourself at all, you have to accept that. Move on. That includes her family. You have to completely detach. Even if this guy were to dump your wife and she came crawling back to you, there'll be another him eventually. Your wife is a mess, and she can't respect you, BC. She treats you horribly, yet you stick around like a puppy waiting to be kicked. I know I'm being harsh, but you may need it. You are 22 years old. You had no business getting married that young anyway. Go no contact with your wife and no contact with her family, file for divorce and live the next 50+ years free of this loon. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.